Hello, David Oliveria with Atheism, The Good Life, back again. This is going to be part two of my first episode of my story, my deconversion story. So I left you off at 1989, where I came to the fork in the road where I said I couldn't do this anymore. This entire belief in God and the supernatural definitely stopped preaching at this time. So now the next few years were these very, yes, arduous years, which many people out there are going through. You've come to a point in your life, you know, there's no evidence for anything supernatural. Most everything I've been taught about in church and so forth doesn't make any more logical sense. And like me, back then in 1989 and a few years prior to that, I did put the concept of God to the test, even though the Bible says in Deuteronomy chapter 6, and again the alleged words of Jesus in Luke 4, thou shalt not put the Lord thy God to test, because the anger of the Lord shall be kindled against you. The Bible doesn't want you to test God. Why? Because when you test it using the scientific method, you'll find out that God is just simply an idea in your mind, in your head. I figured this out. So 1989, I put it aside. Now, the 2 or 3 very arduous years of trying to find meaning and purpose and happiness in life without a concept and a belief of the supernatural. It is possible, it's doable. People do it all the time. It's not easy, but you can do it. So they took me a couple years of reading. Interesting to know that I began to read the natural sciences and philosophy. I learned how to think. I learned how to understand the natural world. And like Aristotle and Lucretius and Epicurus, some of my favorite philosophers of all time, said, the good life are those people that have philosophical minds, that look for data, information. They like to do the study of human nature, and the achievement of the rational life is a very chief source of human happiness. Understanding why people do what they do. I started studying the natural sciences, human behavior, animal behavior, why people react the way they do. I started studying philosophy. I read about evolutionary psychology, natural selection, evolution, all the natural sciences, and I began to figure things out with this new concept of life in this natural world without a spiritual daddy in the sky, which doesn't exist. So those first 2 years from 89 to about 91 were very challenging. I didn't have a computer. I didn't have anyone to talk to. Didn't have a secular community of agnostics, atheists, secular humanists to encourage me along. It was me alone with my thoughts and with my books. I had to retrain myself, and like Nietzsche said, self-creation. I had to create myself. I had to find purpose and meaning in my life. Why? Because it's my life, my mind. I had to decide that for myself. There was no daddy in the sky to give me direction. Perfect example, and I hope I can help others out there. You got to find purpose and meaning in your life. And you know what? My life is better because I know that I have one life. I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to treat people the best I can. I'm going to do everything I possibly can to help humanity and make this world better. That's where secular humanism comes in. So from 89 to maybe 1991 or 92, those were kind of my I don't care years. Lots of reading and study, contemplation, and so forth. I went through a little bit of nihilism, of course. I found meaning and purpose in life. I advanced, and pretty much the rest is history. A few years after that, I started talking to believers, helping them to understand this beautiful world that we live in without the concept and the belief in the supernatural. Ever since then, I've wanted to help others as an activist for secular humanism and atheism. I was once an activist for Christianity. Now I'm an activist for reality, and I want to help people to see that the world is better without these beliefs in God. So I want to go ahead and talk about that on my show. Lots of episodes coming up concerning this. So that's pretty much my story in a nutshell. I know there's a lot more that happened throughout those years, but I gave you just the high points. And yeah, life keeps getting better and better. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the upcoming episodes as we deal with building a good moral life, happy life without God belief, helping other people, and also episodes on why you don't need God belief, why you as a human being and I and all of us are actually too good for the Bible, the Quran, and all these primitive, outdated, immoral books. Have a wonderful day. Bye.